Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. Today I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of speaking from a script or speaking or memorizing your script. And I'm going to just go ahead and tell you that my suggestion for you is that you do not read from a script and that you do not memorize your words, your sentences. And I say this because I know how many people out there do that, do write out your entire script and just read your script or try to memorize your talk. And I'm going to tell you not to do that. And I'm going to tell you why that doesn't work. And I'm also going to tell you what you can do instead. So there's a couple reasons that I want to point out today that memorizing and reading from a script do not work out in your favor if you're trying to be effective in your communication. The first point is that your voice changes when you are reading something or when you are speaking from memorization. And the major change that you're going to hear in your own voice and in other people's voices is that there's not a lot of change in pitch in your sentences. So that means your voice doesn't fluctuate a lot. That means that you don't have a lot of different tones, that you don't have a lot of resonance in your voice. And this communicates to us, your audience, that you are speaking from a script or you are memorized. So when we speak naturally and off the cuff, which is what we're doing every day, what I'm doing right now, we tend to take a deep breath. We tend to speak on our exhale and we tend to modulate our pitch according to the emotions that we're feeling. Um, and and this is another way to say, or another way to say this is that we are alive in our words. We are communicating emotions through our words. We are communicating a message through our words, and we're using all of our tools that we can in order to do that, including pitch, including pace, including our content, our words. When we speak from a script or when we memorize, we've in essence memorized our words, but we most likely are not allowing ourselves to live in our words. We're not allowing ourselves to feel the feelings that those words are communicating. We're not allowing ourselves that feeling of thinking of that thought in the moment and then communicating it. And so that's why a memorized delivery might sound a little bit restrained or boring or monotone or one note. It's simply not as interesting. You're not going to get the engagement from your audience that you want, and you're not going to get the feeling of engagement inside of yourself. The second reason why speaking from memorization or speaking from a script is not going to serve you ultimately is that it actually creates more nerves and anxiety than if you were speaking off the cuff. Now, that might feel totally ridiculous and counterintuitive to you at this moment, but hear me out. When we're speaking from a script, we are very conscious of what needs to come first, what needs to come second, what needs to come third. We are not allowing ourselves to improvise or play. We're not thinking our thoughts in the moment and therefore able to improvise our words. We are simply following a pattern that we have set out. Okay. When we lose our place or when we deviate from that pattern, we are entirely lost, right? I'm sure many of you have had the moment where you were following your script and all of a sudden you lost your place and you didn't know where you were because you were not mentally with yourself. You were just regurgitating words from a page. Similarly, if you have written out your script and you've memorized it and you forget a word or you jump to the next point and you realize that you've done that, you can really discombobulate yourself because you're focusing on communicating a series of words as opposed to a message. And a message can be communicated in a variety of ways and in probably an infinite number of ways. right? And so what we really want to do is focus on communicating messages as opposed to communicating a series of words. So those are a couple of reasons why we should not be memorizing, we should not be reading from a script. So your question for me might be, Rebecca, then what am I supposed to do? Because I'm terrified and I don't know how to deliver this message, deliver my content without first writing it down and then simply memorizing it. Well, um, to begin with, you need to create an outline. And then from that outline, you need to speak from an outline. You need to practice from that outline. And you need to practice saying different words to communicate the same message each time. So let's dial it back for a second and just like take first step first. How do you begin creating a talk in an outline version? Well, you can start by understanding like what it is you need to communicate. And then you can say your content out loud. While you're saying your content out loud, you can record yourself so that you have like the entire talk that you need to give. Then go back and listen to your entire talk and see if from that you can construct an outline. An outline is going to be as simple as what you learned in high school, hopefully, which it means that you start with a thesis statement. And then after your thesis statement, you give yourself 3 bullet points to back it up or to go deeper into the facts about that point, supporting that point, and then give yourself a summary sentence. So, following just a simple outline structure is a way to make sure that you communicate your message, but you don't hinder yourself by having already chosen exactly how you're supposed to say it or the exact words that you need to say. Now, we can dive deeper into how to create this outline, but for now, I want you to know that that's the goal. That's the gold standard, that you need to be speaking from an outline as opposed to memorizing and regurgitating your texts. When you do this, you allow yourself to live in your words. You might make a couple mistakes, but that's okay because being human is more important than being a talking head and being perfect. You will have more of an impact because you're connecting with people on a human level. And by speaking from an outline, you're allowing yourself to not, be terrified that you're going to forget a word or lose your place. You allow yourself to the space to play. In order to ultimately give a presentation from an outline, you do have to practice, maybe a little bit more. But think about the hours you spend memorizing and the hours you could spend practicing speaking from an outline off the cuff, and it probably weighs out to be about the same. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments below if this resonates or if you have any other questions for me about public speaking.